I watched your movie yesterday.
Awesome.
I really enjoyed it.
Thank
and I want to ask you the most hack question I know you're going to get a million times. Which is, how in the hell were you so prescient as to make this movie before the pandemic?
Yeah. I don't have any supernatural ability or anything like that.
Yeah.
That was just me racking my brain of the cheapest premise humanly possible, and lucked into it being weirdly timely. So,
yeah, so little backstory on my own past year is I'm back at home now, but I actually isolated with a family member for an entire year away from home for their benefit and everything. Mm-hmm. And it was hard. It was different, and it drove me a little bit insane. Watching your movie, I would say, is maybe outside of Bo Burnham's Inside, if you've seen that.
I watched it yesterday and was so blown away,
right.
Actually.
That was an emotional watch for me, too. But I would say maybe just under that. No, I'm not, just underneath that, your film has been the most emotional watch for me outside of that. In like dealing with what just happened. So
great. Very good to hear.
Yeah. I like when I realized that you actually made it without having gone through, like, before this all happened. I was actually even more surprised. I was like, how did this guy know how this all felt?
When I was writing it, a lot of it was just kind of guesswork of thinking about how I would, feel in a situation like this. And then, definitely by the time it was all said and done, I was like, it was pretty accurate in terms of just like the emotional landscape, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, there's differences. I'm not trying to say that, obviously. Like, the air toxin thing kind of plays in, but it's obviously different. Like, there's no sunlight in your movie. Yeah, and all that stuff, which is also, like, there is a bunch of this film where I was like, this is kind of a genius like thought process in how to make a low budget movie, because number one, one location movies are great. It's a great way to save money.
Yeah.
I'm assuming that was your place, or
yeah, that was where I was living at the time.
Okay. And I was like, block out the windows. It's perfect. It doesn't matter when you shoot. It's great. I was kind of like I wish I thought of that mode. But yeah.
In the original there was supposed to be a little bit more like window stuff, but just one of the kind of, learning curves of making like a first thing is the VFX work did definitely not work the way I was hoping. So we ended up having to use just like the practical effects that we used, and that's why it's kind of been relegated to like 2 quick shots.
Right. Okay.
But yeah, it was definitely, there's not really a moment in this movie that wasn't made with the main motivation of being, what is the cheapest thing I can possibly do, and how can I make it as visually interesting as that thing can be.
So really, you're kind of relying all on style and performance, right? I mean,
yeah. I just knew that I was basically making this movie with my checking account, and so really, just during the writing process, just didn't allow myself to even think about something that I didn't directly own or a friend directly owned that I could use. The only thing I allowed myself was that wall that he punches through. That's a fake wall that cost about a third of our total budget. So.
Still, I mean, look, I don't want to sound I don't want this to sound like a negative, but I was watching it and I was like, about half hour in, I was like, man, I am really enthralled with a man just talking to a wall, which is literally, like, most of the movie is somebody literally talking to a wall.
Yeah.
And I was like, this should not be this enthralling, but it is. You did it. You made the movie where a guy talks to a wall, and it's actually entertaining to watch, and it actually has like poignancy to it. So good job.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. The first thing I wanted to ask is, what are do you have a favorite single location movie that, like, a famous single location movie? Not
Yeah,
that there's that many of them, but
yeah. I mean, there's definitely
there's
several, and there was
Yeah.
definitely I kind of devoured them in pre-production, to be honest, just
Yeah.
to
Get an
pick up
idea.
on tricks. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I'd say a major one is Bug, the
Yeah.
William Friedkin movie. Just at like Michael Shannon in that movie just might be is pretty close to my favorite performance ever.
Okay.
So
He's the best.
yeah, Bug was a major inspiration, like visually and psychologically and everything. Love that movie. I mean, probably the first movie I truly fell in love with was Reservoir Dogs, which has, a couple more locations, but in general, that was probably like the first containment movie that I saw that I was just completely blown away by.
I mean, when anyone talks about Reservoir Dogs, we're thinking of the one room. We're thinking of the I don't know what you call it, the ear cutting room. Yeah, like that's the location of Reservoir Dogs. Yeah, you're right. It does kind of work like that. So,
and let's see, recent stuff. Like I thought, Buried with Ryan Reynolds was super impressive, given the the scope of that movie.
I didn't see it, but I've heard good things.
Yeah, it's really cool, and it's in a coffin. Like
it's just him in a coffin. Yeah,
Locke with Tom Hardy is really cool, where he's just in a car. And I just watched a movie on Netflix also yesterday called Oxygen that was really well done.
Okay.
And it's about a woman who just wakes up in like a hospital pod, like in the future, and who's running out of oxygen, and she just has to, deal
with it.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. I've never seen Oxygen, and I need to watch that and Buried. Apparently, I'm a big Ryan Reynolds fan. I don't know why I haven't watched that. I also was thinking. I know this is probably maybe a little bit far off as far as production comparatively to your movie, but Cube.
Oh, Cube! Cube. Yeah. Giant influence.
I mean, very different, but also like the same sense of claustrophobia and everything. And
even just
the hopelessness.
And trying to, the ever-changing design. I kind of wanted the apartment to feel like that throughout the movie, even though we're stuck in one place. I kind of never really make the layout super clear. Yeah. So I'm hoping that it kind of messes with people's heads like Cube a little bit.
Yeah, like I don't think I could draw out a map of your apartment.
Cool.
Just from the movie, like, so that's. I mean, I'm assuming that's what you wanted, right?
Yes.
Yeah, like, that's good too. Like, that's kind of how you can't draw a map of like the hotel from The Shining,
That was kind of my big pretentious influence on that for sure.
It's okay, be pretentious. It's fine.
Yeah. Oh, how could I not? Like, The Shining, maybe the biggest influence on the whole movie. Obviously,
yeah. I mean, going mad, locked in a place. Yeah. I was gonna say, watch the table right there. It's a lot of microphone noise.
Sorry.
No, I didn't pick up on it before we started. It's okay. Don't worry. I leave all this stuff in.
Oh, good. Yeah, I talk with my hands a little bit. I'll try to keep the.
Yeah, no, I do too. I'm Italian, so I'm waving them around and stuff. I was outside of stuck in one location movies. Give me some influences here. Like, what actually drove you to become a filmmaker?
I mean, the movies I love in general are quite honestly not particularly of my interest to make something like that. Like, I mean, Quentin Tarantino and Paul Thomas Anderson and Scorsese are kind of like my holy trinity.
Right.
But I'm not trying to make movies like that at all, really.
I get that. I feel the same, man. Like, people always tell me, why don't you make a movie like your favorite stuff? And I'm like, well, I kind of already figured somebody did it perfect. Why would I try to do that again?
And I just look at those movies, and to me, they're just such on a different level that I'm like, I can't even comprehend how like these people can see the world and make it so kinetic and insane.
Right.
Let's see. David Gordon Green was actually probably a big influence on terms of like the scope of this movie and the characters I'm sort of interested in.
His early work, or like even his comedy.
I mean, I love it all.
But
surely the first maybe 5 dramas before Pineapple Express have a very, very special place in my heart for sure.
Sure, yeah.
Soderbergh visually is like a big.
I was gonna say.
Influence.
Like lighting wise and everything, I see some Soderbergh in this movie.
Yeah, Soderbergh was kind of one of our big, visually, just in terms of his use of practicals and just how he light scenes in general was a big, big influence. That and the Safdie brothers and Refn certainly in the second half.
Right. Yeah, definitely. I can see it. What's your, just out of curiosity, what's your favorite Soderbergh?
Schizopolis.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. The movie I'm making right now has a couple of direct references to Schizopolis. And there's even one in Who's With Me when he's making all the faces. I stole that from Schizopolis.
It's okay to steal. It's fine. Yeah. What is it? Tarantino said geniuses steal.
Yeah. So I'll go with that defense. That sounds good.
Yeah, he said it, so it's got to be true, right? Sure. It's fine. It's fine. Yeah. All right. I can see a lot of that in your movie. It reads, the theft. No, I'm kidding. Yeah. No, it really reads.
Yeah, but we had to cut out the heist subplot, unfortunately. But yeah,
do the director's cut. Like somebody has to break in his apartment to get like a diamond or something, right?
Precisely.
Right.
14 split screens.
That's the sequel. It's gonna be great. That's the who's with to me. I don't know. Who's with us? Right. I was gonna say the performance too. Ryan Sherrill, what's his name?
Ryan Sherrill.
Ryan Sherrill. I want to make sure I was saying it right. The last name, really good. I mean, I watch a lot of indie stuff. Performances. You can be forgiving to people because some of the indie stuff I understand. I get it. Sometimes you're shooting something and it's whoever's available. I get it. This is not that. I thought his performance was really believable and quite great. Yeah.
Yeah. I met Ryan at my first job in LA. Mm-hmm. And we just really kicked it off. Just became pretty good friends in about 4 months. And then he moved to New York. And we had done a couple little projects together, but kind of iPhone video stuff more, and just
Soderbergh uses an iPhone. You can't say that anymore.
Yeah,
it's a real camera now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I kind of did a couple things with him that were just a lark, while in the back of my head knowing he seems like there's some really capable, great acting that he could do. And so I wrote this movie for him, in mind. He definitely informed a lot of the script. He was in New York, I was in LA, so we maybe did 20 or 30 just phone readings of the whole thing for 6 months before going into production, and a whole bunch of stuff
just
changed
on the phone, the whole script.
Yeah, just over and over and over and over again. So by the time we were filming, I kind of knew what he was going to deliver, at least audibly. And he just really crushed it. And like I said, really informed, the changing of the script a lot of the way to lean into our strengths. And he did just unbelievable work. Both the actors I gave a near impossible job to, of literally acting against a wall or acting... or in Emma's case, acting against just a microphone.
Right.
And they
you had her play a wall.
Yeah. So I gave them, one of the harder tasks probably that they've, had and
probably will ever have. Honestly, I can't see a person making 2 talk to a wall movies in their lifetime. That's their typecast. That's a wall. Yeah.
Having said that, the movie I'm making right now, it has kind of a not as much as in Who's With Me, but there is one voice in the movie that we never see, and I'm gonna have Emma do that as well, so she can just kind of be my nebulous floating voice in my cinematic universe.
Yeah. So when he's talking to the wall, was he hearing her lines actually, or is that in post?
So during production, I played the part of Aelith behind camera.
Okay, so that's the cut I like to see on the Blu-ray.
Yeah, there's also a cut of this movie where I completely cut out Emma's or my voice, and he really seems completely insane, just having half of a conversation against the wall.
Actually, not that I would say I ever do that, but that's a cut I wouldn't mind seeing either.
Yeah, it'd kind of be like Spider, that Cronenberg movie.
Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah, or even like elements of Castaway almost. Like the wall is his Wilson or something,
Yeah.
and the audience fills in the conversation. Yeah, like it would be cool. But no, her performance is so good. I wouldn't want that replaced. So yeah.
Yeah, she was great, and she recorded. I mean, her performance was quite literally start to finish, maybe 3 hours of time.
Voice acting, man.
Yeah,
that's the gig.
Yeah, she literally came in. Like, I also did the phone thing with her.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, in terms of just the actual recording, she came in. We did it like 3 times, and that was that. And she just like, yeah, rocked it in literally like a 90-minute period.
So was this? I didn't look at your IMDb page. I should have. Is this your first movie, or did you start with shorts, or outside of those cell phone videos you were talking about?
Yeah. This is my first feature, and I've made a bunch of shorts, none of which I put on IMDb. And the one that's on IMDb now, one of the actors put it on because it was like a 48-hour film challenge thing. Yeah. So I've maybe made 15-ish like shorts throughout my life, and then wrote a few with a really good friend of mine. Some of those are on IMDb by choice, and but yeah, so
you can edit your history. It's okay.
Yeah.
Everyone wants to.
Yeah, quite a bit, but sort of like Who's With Me, just very DIY, just making it for the fun of it, and took that ethos to a feeture.
One of the things I really like about this type of filmmaking is watching people fix problems. I always find that when it comes, for me, the way I've always done it is I try to avoid sound in any way I can, in the most ridiculous ways, and then it leads me to new ideas because I don't want to record sound if I don't have to. You know what I mean? I'm sure you understand. Like to sidestep that problem alone is just like amazing. And so I like watching other people and seeing how ways that they have sidestepped other giant problems. I mean, in a way, the way you did it was recording sound of just one actor in a room is great because you're only worried about one source.
Yeah.
Right? I got to imagine. And you're just in your apartment, which I'm pretty sure will be pretty quiet, right?
Yeah. I mean, every once in a while we had to stop when like a SWAT copter or like a particularly low flying plane was going.
Yeah.
But for the most part, we had two or three microphones going the whole movie, but in the final cut, in terms of his voice, I just stuck with his lav the entire time.
The entire time, yeah. Probably more intimate sound, right?
Yeah, and sounded great. And as you see in the end credits, I have maybe like 5 pages of Creative Commons sound effects that I really just layered on top of our very minimal actual recorded sounds. Just tried to go nuts with it.
I was impressed that I mean, anyone listening to this might not care about this, but I did. You actually like individually gave credit to every sound effect.
Yeah,
that's not something most people do. So,
to be honest, I was on this site, and a lot of people are like, "Oh, public domain, you don't even need to credit me."
Yeah,
and a lot of people are like, "Use this for free, but just credit me." And by the time I had reached all the sound effects that I used, there was no keeping track of who to credit and who not to credit. So I just said, credit them all.
Right, just the entire thing.
Yeah.
Like most of the time I'm just like, here's a website. I got it all from here. Like it's a book or it's like a library. Just it all came from there. But yeah, you went individually. It's impressive. So they appreciate it, I'm sure. I don't. One day they might see it. You don't know.
I have no idea.
They'll be like, "That's my sound effect. See, that's me right there." What I always like to ask people too is, I know you already said your favorite filmmakers, but outside of that question, in your most non-pretentious filmmaker mind, you're just talking now.
Okay.
I want to know what movies, or what franchises, or whatever you like to watch when you're just chilling out. Like you don't have to answer influences or anything. This is just you hanging out.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. No shame either. No shame.
I mean, let's see. I mean, honestly, the movie I've probably seen the most times in my life is Reservoir Dogs.
Okay. It's a great movie.
But yeah, let's see. Hanging out, just watching. I mean, right now it's been Always Sunny in Philadelphia, to be honest. I've been kind of re-binging that entire thing again.
I've burned through that maybe like 3 or 4 times in full too. I feel you. Yeah. It's great background noise when you're working and stuff too, just.
Yeah. This feels like it's not the correct answer, but I swear I put this movie on all the time, whether I really want to pay deep attention or it's just in the background. But I frequently play 2001: A Space Odyssey, like frequently.
Have you ever seen it in the theater?
Yes, a couple times. Pretty mind-blowing experience.
As many times as I've watched it at home, I saw 70 millimeter in the front row at a screening in DC. Holy shit! It was a different movie. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
just seeing it that big and being that immersed in it is unbelievable.
And Goodfellas might rival Reservoir Dogs in terms of just amount of times. Goodfellas is like always on like VH1 or AMC or whatever, and I flip it on, and then I'm like, oh, I've been sucked in for 2 hours. The last 2 hours of Goodfellas has got me again. But
I mean, it's kind of impossible to turn off.
Office Space. I love Office Space so much. Office Space was actually huge because that's where I saw a movie where a guy talked to his neighbor through a wall and thought, that's
okay. That's a good callback. Okay, that's the influence there. All right, get it. Dietrich Bader talking to his neighbors. All right.
Yep.
Go back to Office Space. Okay, so your influences are how you chill out. I got it. I mean, I guess I was asking for more garbage. I was looking like I'm interested in like the garbage stuff a little bit, but
I mean, if garbage you don't, stuff I love too.
Say what?
No, I definitely love some garbage stuff.
Yeah,
Here, let me look at my list of movies.
I'm trying to dig out some garbage. People don't talk about the garbage. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I love Tim and Eric is such a giant. Dude, Tim and Eric is huge. Tim and Eric is
You're talking to a lifelong diehard fan who gets accused of being a Tim and Eric filmmaker most of the time. So, they're two of my biggest influences. In fact, I just thankfully for HBO Max, I just finished rewatching Tom Goes the Mayor.
Oh, it's so good.
Probably my favorite Adult Swim show, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm pretty obsessed with Adult Swim as just everything as a concept. I kind of get sucked into that more often than regular TV channels.
Right. Well, in some ways, it's kind of like the last bastion for like nationally released, truly creative art. And you don't want to say that because it seems like kind of an insult, but it's not. It like they literally let people experiment and do things no one would put on television.
Yeah, so many of my favorite current people either started there or are still just going through that, and that's like their main output. So I'm all for them.
Yeah. Was it the have you seen the Greasy Strangler, right?
Oh, I love it. Yeah,
of course.
So good.
Have you seen his show on Adult Swim, Tropical Cocktails?
No, not yet.
You need to watch that.
Okay, cool. I liked his second movie. That was pretty funny. Evening with Beverly Luff.
Right.
Lynn. Yeah. Another completely insane movie.
Right.
I love.
Yeah. You're gonna want to watch Tropical Cocktails. It's pretty much all the weird delivery from Greasy Strangler extended out into a television series of just odd people saying odd things with odd situations.
That
where it could never exist without Adult Swim letting that happen, Yeah.
Oh, I have here's a good trashy a movie I discovered over the pandemic. Prophecy, the bear movie. Have you seen the mutated bear movie from the 70s?
Yes. Okay, for a second I didn't know if you meant the Christopher
Walken. Yeah, no, everyone's done that.
I like the Christopher Walken one, but
I've not seen it yet. I'm sure I would love it.
It's okay. But, it's good.
There was something about that bear movie that just tickled me the right way, and I was just cracking up. There's like a point where the protagonist fights a raccoon, and it's like 10 minutes long, and it's so genius.
Yeah. No, that's a great one. If you like mutated animals, have you ever seen, or I'm recommending to you, The God Monster of Indian Flats?
No, I haven't heard of it.
A lot of people haven't, but it's about a mutated sheep terrorizing a town, which is also a racist town where there's a new black sheriff. And it's two separate movies that were edited together.
Oh, that sounds
it literally makes no sense. It doesn't make any actual sense because there's scenes where it's like a lab where they created the mutant sheep, and the mutant sheep is like a guy in almost like just a giant mound of a costume with a fake arm hanging out and a terrible sheep head, and he just like walks through the park and scares kids. I don't know where that's available, but if you like mutant animal movies that are trash, please.
That sounds fantastic. And just recycled footage movies are weirdly some of my favorite things ever too.
Yeah, like just the idea of them, like a company saying we have two half-finished movies. How do we Frankenstein them together, right? So your next film is what is this, a genre movie, or is this another tour de force of your mind?
No, so since we finished Final Cut on Who's With Me, I've actually made 3 movies.
Oh God, okay.
So when I get back home from this trip, I need to finally just calm down and finish editing some of these things. So the next immediate one will probably be a documentary, actually.
Okay.
That is going to be made up of all found mini DV tapes between 2000 and 2009. And
tapes of yours, or
tapes from all around the world that I acquired in very random ways.
Okay, all right.
I got about 600 to 700 hours of old mini DV tapes and cobbled together another 72-minute just weird archival doc. But if you're into Tim and Eric, I think you'll be very into it, because it definitely has that feel.
I'm also one of those people that would happily watch a VHS tape bought from like Goodwill just to see another family's movies. Like, it's weird. It's not like creepy. I'm just interested to see that type of stuff.
I mean, I completely understand. I did it for 600 hours.
right, exactly.
It's oddly, fascinating. And it was cool to see just how certain themes or actions just really just were widespread over the world at that time. Just how, like, so many things juxtapositioning perfectly, and it's just people literally all across the world. And
so the framing device is like the existence of mini DV tapes and what the world was going through at that time.
Yeah, most of the tapes I found are obviously kind of from that era, but a few weren't, so I kind of chucked those aside. And just tried to make a documentary about the turn of the century, basically.
That's amazing. All right.
And the last shot of the movie, spoilers, is I found some Y2K footage. So as soon as I found that, I was like, this is it. This is the last shot of the movie for sure.
That's awesome. Okay. Yeah. What's that called? Is there a name for that?
That'll probably be called Haunted Mini DV, but it's in the process. That's the most close to done. So I still have to sound edit that, but that's the closest to done.
So so let me get this straight. You made a movie about isolation before the pandemic, and then during the pandemic, you've made 3 other movies.
Yeah, so far.
That might be the weirdest resume right there, sir.
Yeah, and knowing me, I might have a 4th one before anything's even done yet. So,
I mean, because the fact that you're going to have to clarify this for the rest of your life whenever anyone talks about Who's With Me, like, no, I shot it before the thing. Like the rest of your life, you just got to answer that question.
Which is fine. That's cool.
No, it's cool. I mean, not downplaying any tragedy or anything, but like reality sort of helped your movie.
Yeah.
In a weird, like it did the marketing for you in a weird way.
Yeah, I mean, when the Final Cut was finished in April of 2020, so it was still, relatively new. and nobody thought it was going to last as, long as it did. And as time kept building and more film festivals kept canceling, and I was like, oh man, is this going to be the best thing for this movie because now it's weirdly relevant, or is this going to be the worst thing ever because everybody's living in quarantine for the year and the last thing they want to do is watch somebody in quarantine? But yeah, by like halfway through the pandemic, I was just like, this kind of seems like the world now, so I'm just going to put this thing out there because I'm a little sick of waiting.
No, it makes sense. And I think as time goes on and people like heal from it a bit, they'll want to revisit cathartically some of that stuff.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. I know that they made a studio made an isolation movie. It was Songbird.
Oh yeah, the Michael Bay produced.
Yeah, I didn't want to see that because just the trailer made me go, no, I don't want, because that was directly like talking about COVID.
COVID, right?
It was like COVID-23 or some new virus, and I was like, no, I don't need
too
that.
Soon.
Too much.
Literally,
it's
too soon.
It's too
when
close.
It's happening.
It's when it's happening. People are still dying. No, it's not. I don't want to watch that. Your movies doesn't feel exploitative though. Even in the, I mean, I'm saying that for anyone that's thinking of watching it or, seeing it right now, it does not feel exploitative, and it didn't give me any anxiety to the reality of the situation, which I don't know. Okay, you probably don't want to talk about that, but I'm giving you my perspective. I'm serious. Like, I had a lot of anxiety about this stuff. So when I went in, I saw the trailer and I was like, oh man, I got to watch an isolation movie.
Yeah.
But I ended up really enjoying it.
Completely understand.
Yeah, I ended up really enjoying it. So like it didn't feel exploitative of it because it's outside of it, and it's just enough where it still has the pathos.
Yeah, and for anyone who hasn't seen it yet, while it might sound kind of like heavy or depressing or something like that, there are plenty of weird comedic set pieces throughout. So I tried to keep the tone as light as possible for a movie about something so sinister, I guess. Or
yeah. Well, there's those moments too where he's very self-aware of his own downward spiral.
Yeah,
like he knows. Like I always love that when somebody's like going deeply mad. It's like they're getting more mad, more insane, and they actually recognize it, but they just keep going anyway. You're like, yeah. So it did make me laugh a few times. So yeah, like I said, it didn't feel exploitive, and it didn't cause any repressed memories from 2020 to pop up. So like it was the best of both worlds.
Good to hear.
Yeah. Now you sent me a link. I didn't even check. Is that a private link or is it actually just available on YouTube?
Yeah, this movie is just on YouTube for free. Like I said, I made a $1,500 movie, so I kind of had some very small festivals I was planning on submitting to.
Yeah.
But in the end, only one festival we actually submitted to actually happened in the end, and that was Slam Dance. And
it's a good one, though.
Yeah. And so, like I said, we just literally just got kind of impatient and just said, well, I think the way we'll probably get most people, the most amount of people to see this is just put it on free, put it on YouTube, the most common, app. And just hope people like it or connect to it and see if anything comes of it. And if not, that's cool too. We all had a blast making it. So yeah.
No, I see a lot of discussion in like, I don't participate in these discussions much, but I see a lot of like filmmakers arguing over distribution now because it is weird. Amazon kind of failed everybody.
Yeah.
And everything. And now seems to be a renewed discussion in YouTube for films. Like that's where we are. It's just people releasing films on YouTube, full-length films on YouTube. Like, so it's something you would recommend? Like if you had, I don't know, like success on there, have you gotten some response?
I mean,
is it monetized?
No, it really didn't. Yeah, I selected everything to make it as decommercialized as possible. I did put like a Venmo and a PayPal if anybody basically wants to chip into the next movie after watching this one.
Mm-hmm.
But no, honestly, if anything, I'm maybe just trying to earn people's attention and interest because Yeah, I mean, I'm just a guy who made a movie, and
Yeah.
yeah, I just want to hopefully get as many people to see it, and if they, like it, hopefully they want to watch the next one, and maybe something snowballs from there. But
Yeah, I
yeah, I
always
mean,
say like it's eyes, really. I mean, like I never think about money. Money's
yeah,
not, and it's like I'd rather have eyes than money, and that's probably why some people aren't more successful like me. I just would rather people see it than make profit.
yeah. The way I feel about it is, I have my day job, it pays for my life,
Right.
and if I literally just have sandbox movies for the rest of my life, like that rules. So,
And you're just
yeah,
making stuff, right? Yeah.
exactly.
Right. What do you do? Do you work in any type of video or film? Or
Yeah, I'm freelance, kind of a jack of all trades, master of none sort of freelancer.
don't
But
sell yourself short.
yeah, mostly gaffing and AC work,
Yeah.
on just either, random indie productions or, corporate videos or commercials or what have you. Spent
I
a lot
hear
of
that.
hospital videos throughout COVID, not surprisingly.
Now I hear that, and like I've been a working editor for about 15 years. I don't know about you, but I always take the frustration of that and
Yeah,
put it into everything you're told you're not allowed to do it and do it in your own movies.
exactly.
Did you get some of that? Like when you're making something, you're like, fuck work. This isn't work. I get to go crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's even the whole movie is there's a little bit of, I guess just rebellion against just the type of movies I see. And it's not that I don't like, current stuff or anything like that. There's movies I obviously love and adore, but just a little bit of that anarchy feeling from maybe the 70s is maybe a little lost now. So
Yeah.
just wanted to toss in some just not over explain everything and just kind of have some dream logic or be more pay more attention to emotional sense than logistical sense.
Now I think you just touched on something that I kind of always use to separate out movies. Like I'm fine with movies explaining things. I'm fine with it. I'm also fine with them not. But that's usually where the line in my mind is. Like I separate movies in my mind based on those two things. Obviously, indie movies of this sort usually fall into one category where like I can interpret that ending, the whole movie in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
And I'm not asking you to tell me. I don't even want you to. You know what I mean? And I like that. But that seems to be where the line is for a lot of people. Like some people seem to be actively against movies that make sense.
Yeah.
And then some people seem to be actively against movies that don't make any sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm saying I like both.
Yeah, I'm a fan of everything. And
right. Exactly.
And I'll say, yeah, with this movie, definitely the goal was so I'll say this, the three main people behind the movie, we all kind of have our explanation of everything and why everything works the way it does. But we wanted to direct the movie so that people could have as many commingling interpretations and have things to point to that support how they see this movie.
Right.
And yeah, without having an ending that goes, it was that one.
It was all a dream.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. He wakes up in a hospital bed or something. You were in a coma. Okay.
Yeah,
all
precisely.
Right. Yeah. Although that would be such a middle finger too that I almost would appreciate it. You know what I mean? like doing that would always be a comedy skit though. You know, that's like a Tim and Eric sketch or something where like it was all a dream and it makes no sense. St. Elsewhere type of thing. Yeah. Yeah, but I actually enjoy that. I don't want the filmmaker in this case. I didn't want to have you on for you to tell me because like that's what I enjoyed about it. Like in the end, I'm like, I think I know what happened.
Yeah,
and I think I know who the protagonists and the antagonists are. But then again, I don't know if I could actually say I don't. He definitely was the protagonist, but I'm pretty sure in my mind he was both. You know what I mean? Like I don't know, and I like that about that. But I also like Marvel movies. Like,
That's right.
yeah, you know what I mean. You know what I mean. Like, I kind of
Yeah.
like both. And that's when I talk to a lot of indie filmmakers, I get nervous that doesn't jibe. You know what I mean?
No, that's no, like you guys were talking about Michael Bay last week, and
Oh yeah, yeah.
I kind of completely agreed. While not personally, not really enjoying much of his movies, but
Right.
there's no way to argue he's not a total auteur. And
Right.
yeah,
Yeah. And so you're referencing the one of the old episodes with Steven Stahl, great guy. I
right.
think you have some contact with him. You don't you or something? We know each other through Joe Badden, probably. That's
There, yes.
Facebook connections. I can't remember. But Steven Stahl, he's a great guy. He runs the Sick and Wrong Film Festival. We've been friends for a while. We don't agree on a lot of movies, like a lot. So when he brought the Michael Bay thing up, that was a rare opportunity for us to talk about a mainstream thing that we sort of agree on.
Agree on.
And it's like when I have I don't know about you, but like I have a lot of friends in film. And that is always the taste topic is always where it seems like it's best to just not say anything. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I'm a big believer in, not everybody has to like anything whatsoever, and you don't have to be mad about it when someone else like enjoys something. I don't kind of understand that mindset that seemingly a lot of people have, but yeah.
I'm okay with anyone hating anything. It's just like, don't get mad for real at me, and don't judge people,
Yeah.
I know really smart people that like, keeping up with the Kardashians and shit like that. Like, just because that's how they turn off. That's why I asked that question, just because, like, that's how you turn off. That doesn't mean that's not an intelligence thing. It's nothing like that.
Yeah, it's different motivations for what you want out of your staring at a screen.
I have really like sophisticated friends who watch Faces of Death videos, and I'm like, not for me. And that doesn't mean they're psychos. They just like watching that. Like, okay.
Yeah, I'm sure that's what all my friends think about me when they walk in on like the Eric Andre show completely out of context. And they're like,
Eric Andre, man. He's the best, right?
He's amazing.
Yeah, right. Like, that is, like, yeah, right. A good question is, what do you think, how do you define the word when it comes to film? How do you find the word weird?
I guess, that's a hard one.
It's hard because my grandmother would define weird as like, I don't know, Men in Black.
Yeah.
I
mean, that's hard, honestly.
Yeah, it's a really hard question.
I guess I'd define it as when maybe the motivation behind something isn't clear, but that even feels wrong because you can know what someone's trying to do and it can still be extremely weird.
Right. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I have no clue.
Well, wait, okay. Let me try to rephrase. I'm trying to dig here, so excuse me for that. I'm digging to you. What movie has made you feel weird?
Gotcha. Okay. Into the Void made me feel very weird.
You're not alone.
Irreversible made me feel so weird I had to turn it off.
Yeah. Holy crap, right.
Yeah. Inland Empire makes me feel very bizarre. That was also just a very strange night because I saw that movie with my mom, who was also weirdly she's actually legitimately like a Lynch total obsessive, but Inland Empire was just a step too far for her, which I completely understand. So it was just the two of us in the theater for this like 3-hour movie that she hated like every second of. And then we went to a restaurant and they forgot our order. So we were sitting in the restaurant for like 2.5 hours. Then we started driving back home and it started snowing in the Santa Cruz Mountains, which I can't describe how much that never happens ever. It is the only time that happened in my entire life while living like in or near Santa Cruz.
Right.
And so we're bare knuckling it on like the 1-lane highway with it snowing with a car that cannot handle snow. And So Inland Empire always has a strange, special place in my heart for
That's
that
like
memory.
personal too, yeah.
Yeah, just like the worst night ever, but made it kind of the best night ever.
That brings me to: has your mom seen your movie? Does she? And what
Yeah,
does she think?
my mom was one of the first people to see it. She's seemingly in. Well, I didn't watch it with her. She was just kind of calling and texting her reaction.
She was live tweeting personally
Yeah,
to
yeah,
you.
she was.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm like, Mom, watch the movie.
Yeah, don't. Why are you looking at your phone, man?
But yeah, I think she's, she was a big fan. Of course, much of that is probably painted by me being her son. But yeah, I mean, she's known all my life just how much I love like David Lynch and the Twilight Zone, and like to make kind of a David Lynchy Twilight Zone episode, which is kind of what this movie is.
Right.
I think she enjoyed it. Yeah.
Yeah, showing your parents stuff can always go one of two ways. It's like they love it because you're their progeny, or they hate it. Oh, did you lose me?
I'm sorry, just cut out.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Hello.
You back?
You're back.
Yeah, I don't know what that was. You can hear me now, though, right?
Yep.
Okay. Internet, man. Yeah. But yeah, you either go two ways. Like they love it because it's you, or they hate it because you're doing everything they would hate. You know what I mean? You're like, there's some degree that I feel like when I make stuff, I don't know about you, but I guess you're not, because your mom likes David Lynch, so that's out the door with you. But I feel like I'm doing everything I can to make stuff my family would absolutely loathe.
Aggressively
hate. Yes. Right. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm pretty lucky. Like my mom warped my taste of movies pretty damn early on.
Yeah, so she's like almost an influential voice there, right? Yeah.
I mean, huge. I mean, no one else is letting their like 8-year-old watch Wild at Heart. Like no one else is doing that. So thanks, Mom.
Happy 10th birthday. Let's go to see Blue Velvet.
Yeah.
Right.
Basically. Yeah. I mean, my mom, the first one we watched was Wild at Heart, because she was like, I remember this one as the least strange. And then we watched it and she's like, I did not remember that movie correctly.
But I mean, he's made movies that aren't narratively weird.
Straight
story. Elephant Man. I mean, like, he can do that. She could have showed you them too as a kid. You'd be like, I get it. I don't know how Elephant Man played to a 10-year-old or an 8-year-old, but like, to tell you it was real. I can
tell you Wild at Heart played pretty well.
Oh yeah, I could see that. Yeah. I have to ask this, and anyone listening to the audio version of this is going to be like, what poster? Is that a Lion King poster over your shoulder?
Oh, no.
What is that?
So I'm at my mom's house right now.
Okay.
This is a piece of art by a guy named, oh man, I know his first name is Earl, but she's kind of obsessed with him. She's got about 6 or 7 of his paintings, and he was one of the animators on Snow White. So that's it literally has that kind of Disney feel.
It has a Disney connection. It looks like the scene when Simba or Mufasa dies in Lion King, and the whole time I've been staring at it like, we're talking about all this stuff. Like, is he sitting in front of a Lion King poster?
I love Lion King.
No, nothing wrong with Lion King. I mean the original. But yeah, right. But I just had to know. I apologize for the derailing of it.
No, I understand. I actually went to Guillermo del Toro did a big exhibit in LA where basically he just brought his library to LA, and you just got to see what he fills in his rooms, and he had a bunch of this guy's stuff, and I was like, ooh, cool.
That's really awesome. Yeah, like anytime they do like a tour of his house, you ever seen those, the tours of his house and stuff? You realize he's like the Lemmy of filmmaking, if you know who Lemmy is.
Yeah,
like,
definitely.
Like Guillermo del Toro doesn't go home from his horror movie set and like he's like still in the horror movie. He like lives it. It's 24 hours a day for that guy.
They had in the exhibit, they had his notebooks, and I have never seen anything so like mad scientisty, because it's just like the littlest writing you've ever seen and all these intricate drawings, and it's just filled. The entire page is just filled brim to brim. It's just thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of pages. It's kind of nuts.
And you're like, how is he making movies and doing this? What is he doing exactly? Then again, you got to remember he also he also says he's making like 10 movies a year, and they never happen. So
yeah, hopefully
that changes.
Well,
yeah,
we'll see his mountain movie one day, maybe.
I know, right? Or just anything. I just wanted to make more movies. Give me. I mean, I know we're never getting the third Hellboy, but just anything. Just work, please. But there was that time where it was like every day it was like a new green light for Guillermo del Toro. It was like, and then none of that ever came to fruition. Then he makes another movie you never heard of, wins the Oscar.
Yeah, wins Best Picture.
Best Picture. Like, were you supposed to make like 10 other movies?
He's like, no, I wanted to make a romance about a fish. And you're going to love it and cry like I did.
And it's like, I already made 2 movies with a fish man. Then I'm going to make a serious fish man movie and win Best Picture. That's the weirdest. It's amazing. It's incredible.
Pretty incredible.
Yeah. I'm assuming you're a big fan too. I mean, we're talking like this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite?
Honestly, it's probably Shape of Water.
Oh, really? It's just
really. I cried 3 times during that movie, and I do not cry at movies. So
really?
that really hit me hard for some reason.
No, it did too. I mean, it's kind of, and even though it wasn't filmed here, Baltimore. Yeah, it's like a monster movie that takes place in classic Baltimore. It's like, okay, yeah.
Plus, as stated earlier, it's got the Michael Shannon advantage, who is he's my favorite thing in movies. So any movie with Michael Shannon gets like 2 extra points out of 10.
Let me make a recommendation then, because a movie that I don't even know if you've seen it, but have you ever seen The Night Before?
Oh, of course, where he's the pot dealer.
Where he's the pot dealer?
Funny. Oh my god, with the wings. So funny.
I love that whole movie, and it kind of just was forgotten instantly. But his part especially, oh my god. Like, just I remember in theaters the twist. Like, yeah, anyone listening, see The Night Before. It's a great Christmas movie.
And I'll recommend, if anybody wants to see Michael Shannon be the most hilarious person of all time, watch They Came Together with Paul Rudd and Amy Poehler, where Michael Shannon steals the movie in about 2 shots.
Also, one of my favorite directors, like David Wain, man.
I think he's my favorite living comedy director,
really?
Probably. Yeah.
I mean, I can't name anything he's done that I don't at least like.
Yeah,
I love most of it.
I adore it all. As somebody, I was a big Zucker person growing up, and I feel like he's kind of taken that mantle.
Yeah. I mean, they got old. They got old
and crazy.
And crazy. And I still love the original stuff, but yeah, David Wain, Wet Hot American Summer, and the shows too, all that. But
all amazing.
Yeah, they came together. Just why is that not more popular? I guess I could ask that about most of his stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it seems that a lot of people were expecting a regular movie out of that movie for some reason.
Even the title, though, they don't realize the title is that, Like, all right, I constantly reference the 10, which
the 10's my personal favorite,
right? Like, name something. Like, I watch the 10. Like, I don't know if you ever get this feeling, but when I watch something and I say, I wish I made that. When I watch the the X-ray machines, or no, it was the MRI CAT scan machines. When I watched that part of the movie, I'm like, if I came up with this and executed it like this, I could die a happy person. That's how good that is to me.
I completely agree.
Yeah. Anyone listening, watch the 10, please. More people need to see it.
Yeah, he to me, David Wain is like a completely not highbrow like Charlie Kaufman, but I think that's like the level of like logic he puts into his movies while completely devoid of logic. But like, they're just so complex, weirdly, and awesome.
Yeah, and I feel like, especially now, he never got his due. Like, he had a few moments in the sun. I think Wet Hot was still I think he's still considered the Wet Hot guy, Wet Hot American Summer.
Yeah,
but I'm like, I don't know what is a culture we haven't appreciated about David Wain, because I feel like he should have more of a, I don't know, trying to think of a comparative career that I think, like
he should be Apatow, even though I really like Apatow too.
I like Apatow, but you're right.
Yeah.
There's no reason David Wain shouldn't be sitting right next to Apatow as far as being known.
Yeah.
But I guess he's sort of way more off the beaten path, so I guess it makes sense. I don't know. I don't think his stuff is weird enough that it's alienating.
I don't think so either. And then I made a bunch of people alienated by him. So
really, okay,
yeah.
Even like role models. I mean,
Role models is definitely one of the more probably widely palatable.
Wanderlust is kind of a big studio comedy. But then, like the 10 or...
The 10 is... I pissed a couple of my friends off. And I'm like, what is wrong with you? This is the best.
Yeah, like, I guess it has that extra layer of, like, here's the joke, and then here's the joke about the joke, and then here's the reversal of that. And then you get Oliver Platt talking like Arnold Schwarzenegger for an entire scene. I've definitely, like, read reviews where they're like, we don't understand...
What's going on here?
Why is no one else noticing? He looks nothing and sounds nothing. Like that's okay. Or the one of the meanest jokes he's ever done is in the 10, which is the goof, like the doctor. Which it's one of the darkest jokes I think Wain has ever done. But my God, is it funny?
As a goof,
you killed my wife. Yeah, but you don't understand my sense of humor. Such a good movie. Man, I haven't found another 10 lover in maybe ever. So
here it is. Yeah, definitely one of my literal all-time favorite movies.
Holy shit! Okay, that's good to know. Yeah, he doesn't get the love he deserves. It's also, I guess, maybe that's one of the things that makes me feel old, because I remember David Wain being such a big deal, and now I guess
he was the up and comer.
He was the new kid, and now he's, because one of my biggest influences too is Stella.
Yeah, of course.
Oh my God, yeah, Stella, and obviously the State, the State, right? But yeah, Stella. I watched that show so many times. Just the way the dialogue, every sentence is a joke.
It's amazing. I think that's the first thing I saw of his when it was on Comedy Central, and it's been a love affair ever since. Right,
right. Man, we like a lot of the same stuff. I'm going to say that out loud. Tim and Eric and David Wain, man. All right. And I mean, obviously, look, I want to show you this. This is my wallet. So obviously...
Hell yeah.
And my wallet says bad motherfucker for anyone listening. It's like 14 years old and it's falling apart. Like, I got a podcast sticker on the back. But yeah, that's how big. I don't like talk about being a big Tarantino fan that often, because it has a stigma with, especially if you're a white dude. I get it. It's totally a valid stigma. But do you feel that ever? Like,
oh yeah, of course, especially in like film school, where
my God, yeah.
By the time I went, every professor was more or less just trashing him, and I'm just like they're so fun.
But I get it.
Yeah,
I get it. I mean, there are I've met those film school guys that are complete insufferable assholes, and they're like Tarantino written across their chest in blood. I get it. But there's got to be a happy medium here. Like, I can love Tarantino and not be an asshole, right? I mean,
surely. I hope so.
Yeah, right. right, exactly. Right, but I get it. I mean, he's and he might retire, so we might never get another Tarantino movie. So
yeah, and, he might be out of everyone's hair soon enough, so everyone can calm down for a bit.
Well, I mean, that's a good question for you too. Is like, he's obsessed. Unlike a lot of filmmakers, he's obsessed with his filmography as a work of art. Mm-hmm. Like, he views the actual, like, his IMDb page is part of the his voice. Mm-hmm. Do you view that like, is your next choice of what you're making, and what that, in the end, the day you die, let's say 200 years from now, I'm just going to say science figured it out, you die 200 years from now, does your filmography matter? Or if you say, like, there was a few dips that I'm not proud of?
I mean, I think like the two biggest, I guess, influences in terms of like, ooh, I would love a career like that, has been David Gordon Green and Soderbergh. Yeah. So I think I'm a little bit more into the just willing to just kind of dip a toe into anything.
Yeah.
Like especially Soderbergh, right after making Sex, Lies, and Videotapes, just kind of releasing 5 just wild movies and varying genres and budgets and tones, and that wasn't a conscious choice, but after making Who's With Me, like I said, I just kind of made 3 movies, and one's a documentary, one's a total like small town drama, and right now I've been calling it basically my version of Tim and Eric's Eraserhead. So yeah, just hopefully just a shotgun blast of just varying tones and genres, and just have fun with everything. So I guess a little less precious, but I do view those filmographies as cool, like total filmographies. Like I love the adventurousness of those.
Yeah, like Soderbergh, it's not even just genre. The guy literally tries to make movies differently every time.
Yeah, following up Ocean's 13 with Bubble has to be one of the most insane 1-2 punches a director's ever done.
Right, exactly. Then he makes, the Girlfriend Experience, which is like completely, like just no lighting at all, starring an adult.
No actors.
Right.
Yeah.
It's just like, this is the guy that made all these prestigious movies, and then here's this. And then he'll make it, I think, my favorite movie of his, not what many people would say is Behind the Candelabra. I love that film.
Great movie.
It's a great movie. I just love the characters, and I think it's hilarious. And to me, that was like right after he quit filmmaking and then came back, and he's like, I'm not making movies for a studio anymore. It's only TV movies. And then it turned into back to studio. I just like that he keeps promising different things, and keeps not delivering, and then doing something else. Like the narrative of his actual career is kind of a troll.
Yeah. Yeah, he's definitely he's kind of a one for you, one for me kind of guy, but the ones who are for me are really for him.
Right.
But
even when I don't like him, I still respect him at this point.
Yeah,
I wasn't crazy about Unsane. I didn't love it. I respected it though.
Yeah, I was a big fan, but yeah, I can see how it could be. There's some significant flaws in it, especially.
How it was filmed with an iPhone. That wasn't. I don't know. It's just the movie didn't grab me, but I still completely respect it. And I was like, the fact that he's willing to do stuff like this and put his, like, some people view it as, I guess he can just film a movie with anything he wants. Why is he doing this?
Yeah.
I view it as like he's saying, hey, if you have a cell phone, you can make a real movie. Look, I'm Steven Soderbergh.
Yeah, and I just he seems constantly into experimentation, and just seem like he's probably just literally bored of like how to make movies, and he just like wants to change it up a little. So I'm all for that.
Also, I think he seems to be like what you're doing, even what all of us want to do, is he wants to make movies without a financial burden.
Yeah.
Like he's like, I'm at the top and I'm trying to also figure out how to do it without these people.
Right. Which I appreciate.
Yeah, I appreciate that completely, but he hasn't totally figured it out. And even like you watch some of those bigger cell phone movies and you're like, yeah, but without all the proper artists and lighting and editors, and they have the best of everything, and then the cell phone's the weakest link. I'm like, if I shoot a cell phone movie, it's just me with a cell phone. That's a way different thing.
Yeah, there's a reason Who's With Me is shot with a red, because yeah.
Oh, okay, I didn't know that. So you did shoot on red,
right? Yeah. My DP is just an awesome dude who owns that camera and rents it out, for a living, and just brought it on board for free. So that was
that's awesome,
insane. Yeah.
Was it initially shot in like 4K, or is it?
I believe we shot in 5K. The version that's out, our final cut is 4K, but I believe we shot in 5.
Nice.
I think the one we're doing now is shot in 6. I'm kind of bad with that stuff, so I'm always like, this looks gorgeous. I'm like, whatever. This is good by me.
It looks good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure, it looks great. Whatever. Okay, so if somebody wants to watch this movie, it's on your YouTube channel, and I assume
Right.
that the YouTube channel is just Austin Allan James, or is it a name of a?
Everything is Who's With Me.
Oh, it's
The
called Who's With Me. Okay.
yeah, the channel, the video, the everything possible is just Who's With Me, and it'll probably be the video that's underneath the Flow Rider music video. So for everybody out there for reference. So
Okay. All right.
yeah.
And is there something? Where do people mainly follow you? Like where?
Yeah. So the movie itself has an Instagram page, which is at WWM_film. And right now that's just for this movie, but kind of my plan is by the time the second one comes out, I'll just keep it basically updating this page so I don't have to make a new one every single time. So yeah, if anyone's interested, you can just follow that and hear about the next slew of micro budget movies I'll be throwing out there.
Okay. Well, hey man, look, I want to thank you for asking to do this and doing it. I really appreciate it. And thank you for sharing your movie with us, like with me and just the world.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me on and watching.
Yeah, man. If you ever put something else out, hit me up. Okay.
Definitely will.
All right, man.
All right.
This was great. I'll talk to you later, and I'll probably message you about links and stuff. Okay.
Great. Awesome.
All right,
thank you so much.
See you later, dude.
Yeah. Have a good rest of your day.
You too, man.
Later. Bye, everyone.